what's going on? My name is Megan. I am the CEO and founder of Valkyrie Fitness and Nutrition, and I focus on helping women, first responders, frontline professionals, healthcare workers, those working nights, overtime, 12-hour shifts, really get focused in and dialed in with their fitness journey. So what I'm going to dive into tonight, because I had a bunch of people go over and vote on my story the other day on Instagram. So that's where you're coming from. I always value when you guys reach out and actually tell me what you're looking for. And funny enough is I actually just did a training on night shift with my clients the other day. And it's exactly why I put that as one of the options. So reason I actually have a ton of night shift workers between law enforcement. Obviously fires working 24 plus hour shifts. We have nurses, I have doctors, flight paramedics, stuff like that. Everyone's working these crazy odd hours. So when it comes to understanding how to really balance a healthy lifestyle around night shift is really hard. And I'm not here to say that's not hard because my wife, she actually works as a night shift ICU nurse. So firsthand, I've also worked nights in the past too, so I'm not unfamiliar with it. And you gotta crawl around. You gotta be quiet around the house. You gotta keep, if you guys have kids, you gotta keep the kids quiet. If you have pets, you try to keep the dogs quiet. So it is not easy. And then you also have to deal with other people existing outside of where you live, cars, trucks. It's just loud. You never get the right amount of sleep when you work night shift. It's not the same, unfortunately, and I understand that. And we're really good about teaching people that are working night shift how to work. Their end goal rate for most of you guys that might be watching this is usually weight loss. I have a lot of people aiming for weight loss. They want to tighten up. They want to lose their belly fat. And for most people that work night shift, the biggest thing they always talk about is cortisol levels and stuff like that. Yeah, it does play a part in it, but here's the thing. Most of you guys don't really need to worry about too much. There's a lot of stuff going on in the fitness space right now. There's a lot of buzzwords, cortisol, cortisol face, cortisol belly, every X, Y, and Z. There's something new that's popping up every second of the day. It's actually pretty overwhelming, even though I'm, a coach, to see it come about. Every time I swipe, there's someone talking about something completely different. And for most people, honestly, the basics are where you really want to start, right? It's kind of like everything. You should be laying a really solid foundation and then worrying about other things later. Because everyone's talking about what vitamins should they be taking and blah, 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 blah. And it's just supplements, everything in between. Should I get a red light? Should I do this? And it just is, it's insane. So I always tell people, simplify things first, right? Focus on something that you have more control over. And for night shift, it's always nutrition that I tell them to focus on, because most night shift, and we used to rotate every 2 weeks, so it was from days to nights. When I did night shift, for instance, all right, we usually started, it just depended. If you were the early car, it'd be 5 p.m. to 5 a. If you came in later, it'd be like 6 to 6. So I'm going to talk about my experience with night shift, and I'm going to give you some examples because I had a client reach out the other day about we've worked with other clients who stay up for 24 hours after their night shift. So everyone's lifestyle is different. Our job is to show you how to make stuff work for your lifestyle. As long as you follow the systems that we put in place, you'll get results. Really hard not to. And I always tell people, if you're looking for something that's going to actually help you, you can comment the word coach in the comments below the video so I can reach out to you. But ultimately, you want to make sure that what you do in any type of program is something that you can take from that program and you can actually continue forward, right? So for most of you guys, I see a lot of people on night shift or working shifts in general that are trying all these crazy diets. They're doing too much. They're doing 75 hard and, cutting out carbs and this, that, and the other thing. You guys have to remember you're working for 12 hours. That's a long time. 12-hour shifts are long. Whether you you guys get used to it. And then after the 12-hour shift, right, a lot of times you guys are extending that out to 16 to almost sometimes even as much as 20 hours, a week. Especially if you're trying to stay up after a night shift. It's very common for a lot of people we work with. They try to get back on a normal routine after their shifts are done. and which is not, it's not impossible to do, and it's not impossible to lose weight in the process, but you're also cutting down that very, very important thing, which is sleep, right? Sleep is so important. So I always tell my night shift workers, like, prioritize sleep over exercise, because your body's going to recover so much better. And if we can do sleep and nutrition and just work on those two, you'll get results. And if you aren't sure, like, I've got like client case studies, like client interviews, people who've worked nights, all that fun stuff. So it works. We get people to lose weight as long as they follow what we tell them, and that's usually the biggest thing. If you are someone that is good at following direction, this program is going to be great for you. If you're someone that has a bunch of excuses and you hate listening to people, like, please, please don't sign up with us. Honestly, because we don't want to fight you the whole process. But if you're someone that's like a go-getter, I always tell people we can give you exactly what to do, how to do it. You just got to implement. So sleep is super important if you're a night shift worker. And what I used to do, right? So if I was an early car, so to speak, and I got in at 5, I would try to work out before my shift. Now you're probably like, oh, Megan, like, I'm super tired. If I do that, what if something happens? Here's the thing, guys, like, you shouldn't think like that. Like, that shouldn't be, you guys should start to train as if, like, if multiple things happen during a shift, like, you can maintain your endurance, your strength, your stamina, right? I'm not a big individual, so I want to make sure, like, working out before my shift, I'm also warmed up. It's also helping me, like, if you're sitting all day, like, helping with back issues, helping with sciatica, helping you keep your joints nice and loose, because a lot of times when you have all your gear and stuff on too, like, you're just going to feel pretty shitty by the end of your shift. So help me, like, warm up, right, for shift. And that's really important. If you guys, think about it this way, like, you're getting your body moving, you're increasing your energy levels, you start to feel good. That also helped me, like, eat, right? Eating before, because I have a lot of people that don't eat before shift, and that's also going to affect, like, how your body is functioning. So you're going to eat before, right? Eat after a workout, and then we would have dinner. Typically, like, dinner for us would be somewhere around like 6 to 7 p.m., give or take. Sometimes later, stuff used to pop off. And then from there, right, 7, 8, 9, 10, like, you're going to eat again. You want to eat around like 12 p.m. to 2 p.m., somewhere in that cycle. And then I used to eat something around like 4 a.m., like 4 to 6 a.m., somewhere in between there. Just, again, just depending on what it was like. Sometimes I'd be hungry when I got home, right? Come home, eat something small, and then I sleep. So for me, like, if I was getting up and I started a 5 p.m. shift, I would usually wake up around 2 to 3 p.m., right? This would give me time to, like, get ready, get my stuff together, drink coffee, eat a meal before my shift or before my workout, eat something before workout. That's the thing. You have to be someone who's mindful of your intake, because so many of you guys are under eating. My night shift workers are always under eaters, right? And the problem with under eating all the time and then getting up and doing a 12-hour shift, like, your body needs that fuel. And that's why I try to, like, really talk about to my clients is, like, food is fuel. You need to stop looking at it there's so much behind food, and I won't even get to that because it's like, that's like a whole other subject. But so you need to start thinking as your food as fuel for your shifts, because, you're thinking, you're breathing, you might be running, you might be doing CPR, you might be getting out of vehicles, you might be carrying heavy gear. Like, you guys are got to properly fuel your body for these jobs, due to the fact that, if you're under eating and stuff, like, it's causing more harm than good. And you might not see it now because maybe you're in your 20s, your 30s, your 40s, maybe even your 50s. But later on down the road, all this under eating, it's going to add up. It's going to cause issues with, brittle bones. You're going to have issues with hormonal function. You're going to see it in your skin, your hair, your nails. I can't tell you how many women in their 50s and 60s that work with us can't believe how much thicker their hair's gotten in 4 months with us. They're like, I didn't think this was a goal of mine. I'm like, I know, it's kind of weird, right? And they're like, yeah, it's actually really nice. My hair's not falling out. I'm like, you under eat for decades, right? And then you work nights. So then you have the stress on the body, right? Our bodies aren't supposed to be up during the night. You have just, like, it's just putting more fuel into a fire that needs to be put out. So Just understand that, especially if you're a firefighter who's getting woken up, or EMS or paramedic in the middle of the night and the tones are going off. Like, that stress on your heart and your body, it's just not good. And if you're under eating on top of that and you're not feeling yourself, like, that's another big part. And if you're not taking care of it, right, with your activity, you're just sitting around all the time, it's just going to take a really big toll on your body. And we don't want that. We want you guys to feel good and healthy and have a good long retirement after you're done, right? That's what you guys want in the end, is a nice retirement. So just adding to the stress of the body. So I had a client go over something recently, and they're tracking their food, right? If you guys haven't started tracking, if you haven't seen any of my past videos, go through them. I talk a lot about nutrition, because nutrition is key. Nutrition, and people used to say it's like 80%. I'm going to say it's like closer to like 95% of your results. And workouts is like 5%, to be honest. Like, it's not even that serious. Like, I always tell clients, like, if they're really, really, like, maybe 40, 50, 60 plus pounds overweight, you should worry about your nutrition more than anything, and worry about like 5% of your workouts. Because here's the problem with most frontline professionals, active duty military. You guys think that if you beat yourself up, right, it's going to lead to, like, being jacked, right? Because we get in that thought process, right? We went through academies. We've, you've done hard jobs, like, stuff like that. You think that, like, that is going to lead to you being, like, super jacked. It's not. It's going to make things worse. You guys should be worrying more about recovery. And we think, like, if you are someone, like, in your 20s right now, like, that's the one thing I see a lot of. People are, like, doing 2-a-days. They're doing all kinds of crazy stuff. And I'm like, you need to dial it back. Because I used to do that stuff in my 20s too, and now I'm like, I'm in and out of the gym in like 45 minutes. I'm not doing all that. And you guys shouldn't have to feel like you need to either. So just be mindful of that. So one big thing, so if you are someone that tracks their food, I tell my night shift workers that you should look at your tracking on MyFitnessPal, for example, in 24-hour cycles. So what I mean by that is, let's say, right, this is a client, like, literally I went over this, like, Wednesday is the start of their day, right? Wednesday into Thursday. And their Thursdays when they go to sleep, that's like their end of their whole day. You're going to take from 10 a.m. to Wednesday until all the way until Thursday. That's going to be your Wednesday. So you just backtrack and you plug everything on a Wednesday. When you wake up on Thursday, and your shift works Thursday into Friday, that is, right, that's going to be Thursday. And that's the easiest way for my night shift workers to pay attention to their nutrition. Because I had this whole thing down, like, written down on, like, a past client. Because we do, like, an office hour too, where clients can kind of come in and out. I keep Zoom up. Like, I'm usually typically working on my computer all day. As you guys can see, it's 7:30 right now. So they can just pop in and out during that office hour that I have inside of the program. So they can ask whatever questions they might have, so they can get them answered, and then just kind of pop out. And I try to change it days and times each week, because everyone's got crazy schedules. But, they kind of went over what their shift looks like. And that was my number one thing. And they're like, oh, it's way, way better for me. This is going to be so much easier. And that one thing just, like, turned the tide for that client. And I just went through their nutrition the other day. It looks way better. All this stuff too is just, like, stuff I went over with clients the other night. But typically, like, every week I have a group call where we're diving into stuff like this. We're getting really granular on, tips, tricks, ways to, like, improve your shift work. No matter what, like, we have a lot of different people. But the thing with nights is prioritize sleep. Get into a really good habit where you're kind of, like, picking times or hours where you're going to get food in. It doesn't have to be perfect or every single time. And I want you to get out of the mindset of, like, after 8 p.m., you can't eat. So many people, I don't know who the hell started this, but, like, I want to punch them in the face. Because at one point they said, like, at 8 p.m. you can't eat anymore because it's, like, bad for your body. Dude, if you're on night shift, you got to make stuff, you got to eat. Like, sorry. And a lot of this stuff came with, like, fasting and all this other nonsense. Like, so many of you guys, like, all these, like, goofy trends, you need to stop, like, trying to put your crazy lifestyle into those boxes. It just doesn't work. You don't have a consistent schedule. you're responding to calls throughout a 12, 24, 48 hour cycle. Like, you guys can't try to do intermittent fasting and expect it to work, because what happens when a call comes out in between your eating window and you can't eat? You can't do that. So you have to be better at being more flexible with yourself and understanding that, in all honesty, a lot of these quick fix diets or trends or whatever you want to call them, they're created to, like, sell, right? That's what they want to sell you stuff, or like teach you how to do it or whatever. It's not sustainable. It's not something you guys can stick with. In actuality, you should just be learning how to, like, blend in your nutrition and your fitness journey with your schedule, because it's not going to change anytime soon, right? You guys are doing this 20, 30 years, so you want to make sure you feel really good and confident inside of it, and you have, like, all of the information in terms of how to just make things a lot more simple. So, anyway, last but not least, if this is, like, something you're curious about, you feel like you might need some help, you've maybe fallen off the wagon, maybe you're someone that's been fit for a really long time. Like, we work with a lot of women who have been at that place and they just fell off due to their schedules. If so, you can text me at, let me put this at the bottom, right, 878 666 9222. Text the word coach, and, like, my team will reach out to you and we'll kind of talk to you, get an idea on where you're at, and where you need some help.